Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with America's shocking first experience in a German hospital having a baby, price, medication, etc. Part 2. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up. Let's finish up.
And come and help us whenever we needed help with our babies, and that is, do you feel like there is a bit of a language barrier as there are many medical terms and generally not the normal conversational German used when it comes to pregnancy? I've seen your video where you mentioned that the midwife said mother mouth, and I thought it was funny, but can see how it can be a bit confusing / scary when German isn't one's native language.
So our situation, I think, is not going to be the typical situation if you're having a baby in Germany. We live in an area where there are a lot of Americans, a lot of English speakers. So this particular hospital is used to having Americans coming through. So everyone had really great English. I was nervous about that at the beginning, but we had no issues with the language barrier.
Well, we had one gynecologist whose English wasn't great.
But
again, we also don't go to the hospitals and expect them to speak English to us. And there were times where, sure, like they forgot like a certain English word or whatever. But like with my German knowledge, they could say the German word and I was able to translate it. And that's kind of the thing, is like my German is to a level where it's like we can do most things. It's just specifically medical terminology or like birthing terminology. I never learned that. And so that was going to be kind of like a sticky spot, but it was never a problem for us. But it's also our very specific situation with where we are located in Germany.
After coming home from the hospital, we weren't just left on our own. My midwife then started coming every single day and then has been tapering off slowly, coming every other day, and then now she's coming once a week. And she comes and she weighs our baby, makes sure he's gaining weight well, makes sure he's eating well, and checks on me, makes sure my recovery is going well, and helps us with any questions we have, gives us tips on really everything that there is to know about taking care of a baby.
Which is a pretty big difference from in the US, because in the US, whenever you go home from the hospital, you're kind of on your own. I mean, a lot of times you'll have your family or your friends coming over and helping, but of course for some people you may not have that, and that is where the midwife really is a neat thing. Like we talked about in our other video about pregnancy in Germany, midwives are not really a thing and are viewed as kind of like an alternative medicine thing in the US, and it's just completely different in Germany. Which brings us to one of the other questions that we received on Instagram. What's your opinion on midwives now that you have one?
I love them. I am such a huge fan of this system. I love the postpartum care here in Germany. I think they really emphasize taking care of the mom and the baby and making sure you are getting off on the right foot and not just left in a lurch. I cannot speak highly enough of the whole midwife system. I love it.
I truly think it is amazing from what they're talking about, right? To not just be abandoned, for the midwife to come every day, then every other day, then once a week. I think that's really awesome. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, I feel like in America, once you have your baby, you're on your own. Then it's up to you and your family to take care of your child, right? But it's so dope that the midwife comes in, checks in, makes sure everything's okay with the baby. Also checks, make sure everything is okay with the mother and her recovery. I think that's really dope. That's really dope.
Foot and not just left in a lurch. I cannot speak highly enough of the whole midwife system. I love it.
And for any of you wondering, I will again talk about this in a future video about prices, but this is also something that is covered by insurance for everybody. This is not something that we're just paying for extra to have a midwife like you would be in the US if you got a midwife. This is 100% covered by your insurance, and we don't have to worry about anything. She just comes. So if there's one thing that unfortunately Germany is really famous for, that is bureaucracy. And that's something that we are coming across in Germany with our baby being born, unfortunately. So one of the very first things that a lot of people may be surprised by that we got from the midwife after our baby was born is paperwork to actually submit his name to the German government for approval. So literally the German government says whether or not you can name your child what you want to name him or not.
So they do this so that they can hopefully protect a child from having a weird name that's going to be unfortunate for them in their life, like Apple or Seven, something strange. But it's not super strict, like they're gonna say, no, you can't name your child Thomas.
Okay.
But we did come into an issue with the name of our child, unfortunately. It is not necessarily because the German government said that we couldn't name him what we wanted to name him, but they say that they can't physically enter the name into their systems that we want to name him. That's because he has a legacy name. So this is something that is a lot more typical in the US and from what I've gathered, since I'm a legacy name, meaning I'm named after my father and my father's named after my grandfather. This doesn't really happen in Europe unless you're like part of a royal family of some sort. So I am the third in my family. So after my last name comes I in Roman numerals to designate that I am the third of our name. And my son is the fourth. And so in the US, on all of his legal documents, he would have IV Roman numerals, but Germans were very confused by this. And I was very surprised at how confused they were by this. But in the hospital, they brought us his paperwork and they kept doing it wrong. They like couldn't figure out how to do last name and then the Roman numerals. And I kept trying to tell them how to do it, but they were just saying, oh, this is not possible. This is not possible. And they finally just said, take it up with the government. So one of the other pieces of paperwork that we had to fill out is his registration paperwork with the German local authorities. And so I had to call them and ask them if they would please do it the way that we want it to be done. And they again told me, oh, that is not possible in Germany. We cannot do that in our systems. And I tried to explain to them that literally every single one of my German IDs all has the Roman numerals exactly like it is in the US. So it seems like it's possible, but I guess it's not when you're actually registering a new name.
So
in the end, what we're having to deal with is him not being named a legacy name. We had to completely just drop the fourth like we would have in the US and just have his just plain name. And then whenever we go to the US consulate in Frankfurt to get his American documents, we're gonna have to then convince them to put the fourth on it, even though his international birth certificates don't have it on it. But really that shouldn't be an issue because again, in the US this is very, very common and everybody is used to how this works for them.
That's crazy that it doesn't work like that. I understand. I mean, like you said, it's not normal over there. People don't do it. Whereas to the U.S., people would definitely give their kids legacy names. I thought about it, but then I was like, I don't know. I want him to have his own name. Like, I don't know. But I have no problem with people giving their kids their names, like Junior, the third, the fourth. I think that's really cool as it continues down each generation. I think that's awesome. And my dad did it with my brother. So yeah, he's my dad's senior, my brother's junior, but my brother didn't do it with his son either. So I guess that's just up to you. But I want him to have his own name. Well, I don't have a son yet. I don't know why I said I wanted him to have his own name. I don't. We don't know. We're pregnant, but we don't know the gender. So I'm pretty sure it's a boy. In my gut, I feel it. But if it is a boy, I want them to have their own name. You feel me?
For the most part.
Speaking of going to the U.S. consulate, another question we had was, will your baby have dual citizenship? I didn't think Germany allowed it. And they are right. Germany does not currently allow dual citizenship. So our baby will just be an American.
But also isn't that he's just an American just because Germany doesn't allow dual citizenship? Germany also differs from the U.S. in that if you're born on U.S. soil, you are an American. It doesn't matter who your parents are. Germany doesn't have that same rule. You have to come from German blood to receive German citizenship. So simply because our baby was born on German soil does not give him any rights to German citizenship. So he will purely be American, and that will not be an issue. And if you're wondering, he still will be able to run for president one day if he chooses to because he's born to two Americans.
We looked just in case he wants to do that.
That's cool.
I got 6 weeks of maternity leave before our baby was born, and now I'm in the 8 weeks of maternity leave after he was born. And then Germany also offers additional leave that you can take. And so I'm planning on taking a year off.
So that additional year.
That's so freaking dope, dog. Like, shout out Germany. They taking care of parents out here. Shout out Germany.
After the 8 weeks of maternity leave is known as Elternzeit. And there's two different things that the German government gives us as new parents in Germany. And that is Elternzeit and Elterngeld, which is parental allowance, I guess you would translate that as. And this is something that honestly, for us, it is a little bit complicated, and I would highly recommend if you want more information on these benefits to check out Simple Germany. We've plugged them before. It's a great YouTube channel, and they have a really great website that lays out a lot more of the specific details. But basically, we can apply to the German government for Aubrey to take 1 year off or 2 years off or more and be able to get her job protected so she can go back to work. But also, the German government will actually give us a stipend to make up for her not working, which is a portion of her salary. It's a way of taking paid maternity leave for an extended extended period of time. But the beautiful thing is not just for mothers. I also could benefit from this. And there's ways that you divide up the Elternseit and the Elterngeld between the parents. But right now, kind of what we're looking at doing is Aubrey taking 12 months of maternity leave and getting the monthly allowance from the German government. And then I will take 2 months, which is something that is just like totally different than in the US, but a really cool benefit that we're getting to kind of reap the rewards of right now. Well, I still gotta do, of course, it's Germany, a very, very lengthy bureaucratic application process. But as soon as I get that done, we're gonna get to really reap the benefits.
That's so dope. I think, again, shout out Germany. Taking care of the parents, allow the parents to spend that time with their newborn child, to look after them. They just treat you right.
So another question that we received on Instagram was, I heard finding a kita in a major city can be like the Hunger Games. Can you confirm?
Well, 1, we're not in a major city. And 2, we haven't gotten there yet. We'll see.
It's something that we have heard you got to apply for early on and get your kids on a waiting list as soon as they're born, but we're still in the weeds of a lot of other bureaucratic paperwork with the German government, registration with the American government, and then also with the Elterngeld and Elternzeit. So that's on a check mark way down the list, so we cannot confirm.
We also got asked on Instagram, are there any items you bought for your baby that you felt would have not been needed in the US? Or let me word it differently. Do you think there is a different approach to having a baby and how to get ready for it in Germany compared to the US? I would lean towards no, because whenever we found out I was pregnant, I asked really all of our friends and family who had just had babies in America what they needed for their babies. So my list of things to get was pretty much what we would get if we were in the States too.
But also, I don't think the list really varies that greatly, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, a baby needs his mama, needs a little bit of clothes, and some cuddles.
Diapers.
And diapers.
Lots of diapers.
Yeah, tons of diapers. And then everything else beyond that is, I mean, you may not necessarily need it, but you want it. And from what we could tell, it doesn't seem like there's a big difference between German and Americans. However, there was like one item.
Yeah, that I thought of would be our stroller. I really wanted to research and find a stroller with really heavy duty wheels because I know we'd be traveling a lot and going on cobblestones. And then also I wanted one that had a pram.
That's really nice.
The little bassinet kind of thing where that he could lay in. Mostly because I see a lot of families around Europe using those, taking their babies out, taking them to restaurants and being able to be pretty mobile with him. Whereas in the States, I don't think I would have felt like that was necessary because we would not really be walking everywhere as much as we do here. We'd be driving everywhere.
I think specifically we would have, of course, have gotten a stroller. Is specifically the wheels types and then the pram that we wouldn't have probably gotten in the US.
Of course,
that's dope.
having a baby is really intense, but our experience overall in Germany was really, really good. I really feel great about our experience with all of the midwives and the doctors that helped us out, and our care and everything so far has been really great.
And I think you guys probably know by now watching our videos, we're not generally ones to advocate one way or the other. Is Germany or the US better? Because we, for the most part, see the pros and cons to both sides, and we know that it can go either way. But I will say, in this situation, we were very thankful to have our baby in Germany. It just overall, not just money, but just the overall experience seemed like a great experience. And whenever we talk about with a lot of our American friends, they are also really surprised and amazed at some of the benefits and care that we received in Germany. So it was a really great experience.
Yeah, for us, I'm glad we had our baby in Germany.
To see who made it this far into the video,
those benefits are absolutely sensational. I think that's very awesome of the German government to take care of the citizens, take care of the parents, allow them to have that time to bond with their child, while also paying them a portion of their salary is legit incredible. That's all we have, though. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up. It's your boy Neal, out.